The first type of rock we're going to talk about are called igneous rocks. We're going to take these notes on the pink piece of paper that you can find on the table. Igneous rocks are formed when hot liquid magma from underneath the earth cools into solid rock. So we have a physical state change. It's going from a liquid, where it's liquid magma underneath the earth, and it's turning into a solid, because we know that rocks are solid. So up here we're going to say that it is formed when magma or lava cools and solidifies. Solidifies just means that it hardens and it becomes a solid. When the liquid magma is underneath the Earth's surface, we call it magma. But when it reaches the Earth's surface, if it comes out of a volcano or any cracks in the Earth, we call it lava. Okay, so we want to be sure that we're using the correct term, whether we're talking about underneath the Earth's surface, magma, or above the Earth's surface with lava. We have two types of igneous rocks depending on where this rock is forming, whether it's the magma under the Earth or the lava on top of the surface. The first one is called intrusive, I-N-T-R-U-S-I-V-E, intrusive igneous rock. This happens when the magma doesn't quite reach the Earth's surface. It cools in like cracks or layers right underneath the Earth's surface. And if you think about the word intrusive, sounds like inside. So we're talking about inside the Earth, below the Earth's surface. So this happens when magma, since we're below the Earth's surface, since it's still pretty warm underneath the Earth's crust as compared to much cooler if it has come outside, it actually cools much slower. Okay, so we're going to say that it cools slowly. And because it's cooling slowly, as the rock is formed, it has time to make really large, visible crystals. So we're going to say that it has large crystals. That means that the texture is usually pretty coarse-grained, meaning like you can see the bigger chunks of the minerals. So here's an example in granite. We talked about that before when we first started talking about rocks and minerals, and we said like granite countertops were something that we recognized. And here you can see that it has the bigger chunks of the different crystals inside. So this is an intrusive igneous rock, cooling when magma cools slowly and it forms rocks with larger crystals. The second type of igneous rock is called extrusive, E-X-T-R-U-S-I-V-E. So intrusive was inside the Earth. These are igneous rocks that form above the Earth's surface. If you think of the word extrusive, it kind of sounds like exit. It has that EX at the beginning. If you exit, you're going outside. So we're talking about outside or above the Earth's surface. Since it's outside of the Earth's surface, now what we're talking about is not really magma, but it's actually lava. A lot of the extrusive rocks are found around the sides or at the base of a volcano. And when that lava comes to the surface, it actually cools very quickly, since it is much cooler, if you think about the temperature difference, above the Earth's surface as compared to below. So we're going to say that it cools quickly. And since it's cooling very fast, the rocks don't really have time to form the crystals like they do in the intrusive rocks. So the crystals, or the texture, is very fine-grained, and we say that it has small crystals. One example that you may have seen before is called obsidian. Obsidian cools so rapidly that there are really essentially no crystals that are forming. It looks very smooth. Sometimes it's even called volcanic glass. Okay. So you can see that you cannot see the little, the crystals or the little specks like you can in granite. Another example you may be familiar with is pumice. We find a lot of pumice around volcanoes, and if you can see, it's very airy. It has a lot of like holes inside. Those are like gas or air bubbles that were still in the lava when it cooled really quickly. Okay, so there's pumice. Right here, I just want you to add the word volcanoes, just so that we remember that extrusive rocks are typically found around volcanoes. Some of the examples that we just named: granite, some of the extrusive, we said obsidian, pumice. You also may have heard of basalts. That's another extrusive igneous rock. Once you have the examples, if you will go towards the bottom and fill in the Venn diagram to compare and contrast the intrusive igneous rocks with the extrusive igneous rocks, you should have at least 3 facts that are unique to each type of rock, and then see if you can come up with 2 similarities in the middle, 2 things that both types of igneous rocks have in common. When you finish the Venn diagram, you can glue this into your journal onto page 4, just like that. Once you have it glued in, if you'll watch the Intro to Igneous Rocks video before moving on to the Pit Stop A quiz.